Jared here with CarBuzz.com, and today I am exploring how rich people tote their families around with this, the 2019 BMW X7. Now, if you are rich and you need room for up to 6 passengers, this might be the ultimate vehicle on sale today. Now, some people have criticized BMW with this design because it's got this big, massive kidney grille. It's just so big, but this is a big vehicle, and I assure you that if the grille was smaller, that would probably look weird as well. I think it's pretty good looking. It's definitely not screaming in your face luxury. Like, nobody's gonna look at this and be like, wow, you definitely spent over $100,000. And yes, this does cost over $100,000, but I do think it is pretty attractive. We've got the M Sport package, which definitely makes it look a little bit more aggressive with these big 21 or 22 inch optional wheels. I love those little blue accents with the BMW laser headlights. Overall, this is just a really cool design, and I can't wait to show you how it drives out on the road. But before we do, be sure to click the link in the description below to get the best deals on the 2019 BMW X7. Now let's go drive it. So this is how the other half totes their kids around. Gosh, it must be nice to be rich. This BMW X7 is so much car, so vastly much. We're driving the middle tier. There's going to be 3 engine options available as of this video filming. So the base one, and I have driven this, if you go back and watch my first drive review of the X7, is the 40i trim. That gets you a 3.0 liter turbocharged inline-6 engine. It's called the B58. It's actually the same motor you get in the new Toyota Supra. That's good for 335 horsepower and 330 foot-pounds of torque. 0 to 60, even though that thing weighs 5,300 pounds, happens in just 5.8 seconds. That's really quick for such a massive vehicle. And as I said, I have driven that, and trust me, you are not going to feel like you don't have enough power. The power comes on smooth. It sounds really good, that inline-6 engine. It's just wonderful. But if you are willing to drop a little under $18,000 extra, you can get the engine I'm driving, which is the 50i trim. It weighs a little more, 5,600 pounds, but you're getting a 4.4 liter twin turbo V8, good for 456 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 goes down to 5.2 seconds. Now, $19,000 is a ton to spend on an optional engine, and you're probably going to ask me if it's worth the extra money, and to that I'm going to say sort of, kind of, because the inline-6 is just so good on its own that I would say you probably don't need to upgrade to this engine. But this is just so much. I'm going to go ahead and put my foot down. Oh, power just comes on like a surge, like a wave. It's so much. In any passing situation, you can just mash the throttle, it downshifts quickly, and you are just gone, leaving the poor people that are sharing the road with you in your dust. And amazingly, this isn't even going to be the fastest X7, because they just introduced an M50i version, same engine that you get here, but it's the same tune that you get in the M850i. So that's good for 525 horsepower and 553 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 in that, wait for it, drops to 4.5 seconds in this massive SUV. It's crazy. And they might do an Alpina version. We've already seen some test mules running around to that with over 600 horsepower. BMW has lost their minds, and I'm loving every minute of it. So no matter which of those engines you choose, you're going to have this wonderful, wonderful ZF automatic transmission. It's an 8-speed. This might be the best transmission on the market today in terms of automatics, not counting dual clutches. Upshifts are smooth. I'm going to go ahead and come to a stop now. It's got stop start, and it does it so smoothly. I can't believe BMW has managed to make the stop-start system so smooth without having a mild hybrid system like Audi or Mercedes do. And it can actually tow too. If you get the towing package, it can tow 7,500 pounds, and that's regardless of which engine you get. So don't think for a minute that you need to get this V8 if you want to tow. So yeah, it's just really close for me on this engine because part of me is torn. I love the inline-six, but this V8 is just so wonderful. My suggestion is, if you're just stretching your budget out of an X5, you need the third row, but you can't really afford how expensive one of these gets with a lot of options on it, go for the inline-six. But if you're just going to be, clicking every option box, I think you might as well go for this V8 because it is wonderful. In terms of driving, the X7 does have a little bit of that BMW sportiness, but this is definitely the most comfortable car BMW makes. We've got a double wishbone front suspension up there, and then in the back we've got a 5-link rear suspension, and then we've got air suspension that self-levels on both axles. So when you go over a bump, it sort of smooths them out and irons them. It's just so wonderful. You really don't even feel the imperfections in the road. We do have some different drive modes here. I can go ahead and put it in Comfort, Eco Pro. There's an adaptive mode that kind of switches between the modes depending on how you were driving. I put it in Sport mode now, and if you listen, oh, that V8, it really makes a good noise, especially when you have it in sport mode. I've had the privilege of riding in the third row of this vehicle, and if your kids are back there, they are going to want you to downshift at every opportunity, because that exhaust, the M Sport tuned exhaust, sounds amazing back there. So yeah, there's tons of adaptive features as well. You get a ton of standard safety tech. This thing can basically drive itself. It has what's called traffic jam assistance. That gives you limited self-driving capability up to 37 miles an hour. So if you're doing like a slow commute to work, it basically drives itself. So you can sit back, turn on your massage seats, and just enjoy and let the X7 take care of everything. And I wanted to try and make this driving portion just a little bit more brief than usual, because I'm about to pull over so that I can show you this interior, because there is a lot to talk about. All right, so now that we've pulled over, let's take a look at this incredible cabin that BMW has put together here. BMW kind of lost me a couple of years ago with their cabins. They weren't like all that luxurious. They seemed kind of basic and behind the times in terms of technology. No longer. This car is a tech tour de force. These materials are amazing. You've got all of this nice metal that's nicely knurled. You have leather everywhere. We have some extended leather packages that really helps aid in how good this car looks. But yeah, the interior is just a lovely place to sit, but that does not mean that the technology in it is perfect. So let's start off with the central screen, where you don't have physical gauges anymore, and that's where my biggest gripe with this interior starts. So this might be the most disappointing element of the entire interior, which is a shame because the rest of it is such a high point. But my issue here is these gauges look okay, but BMW has done away with their very nice classic looking analog gauges, and what they've replaced it with is total crap compared to other vehicles in this segment. So you can see we have like a map there in the middle, but you can't see like street names, and it's really not very useful. Audi and Mercedes both do a much better job, Volvo too, of putting a big full map where you can really see where you're going. This one is kind of just useless. Then off to the side, you can we have a little button here on the stalk that'll switch between there. We have fuel economy, we've got some of our driving data, we have a G meter. Yeah, you really need that in your 5,000 pound SUV. You've got your power and torque meters. You can have whatever audio you're playing, or you can just have it be a tachometer. There is not a lot of information that you can have displayed here. See, that's the only customizable area. You cannot customize the entire left side of the screen. And if you're going to have it be like that, why not just have gauges with a screen in the middle? It's just disappointing to me. And if you've been in one of those competitors, you're going to be much more impressed with the digital display. So now let's move over to iDrive. BMW's infotainment system is not the easiest system to get acquainted with. Everything is kind of hidden in like menus and sub menus. There's like a ton here. You can see I'm touching it to control it. You can use your hands if you prefer using a touchscreen. You can get your notifications here. I like how BMW has made that like easy to get to, but I haven't really found that touching it is the easiest. I usually use the iDrive controller down at the bottom, but it is available there. You can also use your finger to control certain things. I don't like that because I talk a lot with my hands. If I go ahead and throw the car into reverse, we have this incredible backup camera. If I move the steering wheel, we've got lots of trajectory lines, and honestly, I want to show you this. I'm going to go ahead and pull up close to this little barrier here because it just like picks out, you can see, look at that. It uses like augmented reality to show you like where you're about to hit. I have not seen a better backup camera system than this. This is just absolutely stupendous. And of course it has all sorts of automatic parking sensing stuff. It'll do all of that for you. If you don't know how to park yourself, you know, for 100 grand, it might as well. And look, when I put it into park, it's going to show me where my doors are expected to go. So you can see, oh, the kids are going to ding the Rolls Royce or the Bentley next to me. So that's pretty cool. The climate control, I wanted to mention this because it's kind of interesting. BMW puts a little screen here. It's not a touch screen though. You do control it via, just this ribbon here. But what's interesting about it is that you control the fan speed on the passenger side and on the driver's side independently. So if your passenger doesn't really want any air on them, you can have that off. But if you want yours to be blowing like really fast, you can do that. I haven't seen a lot of cars do that. And this system is all tied. We have an optional audio system here, Bowers & Wilkins. Harman Kardon is going to be your base. This system is incredible. One of the best, if not the best that I've heard. 20 speakers powering 1,500 watts. It really, really bumps. We've also got all of our self-driving autonomous features. Those are all in here. You can configure them individually, which I have. I don't love them on their most aggressive settings. So the first time I ever drove this car, every time I strayed out of my lane, the steering wheel would yank me back in. I was like, stop it, annoying, and I turned them off. But you can actually configure them to make them less aggressive. So now that I've had like a week to play with this car, I've actually come to terms with BMW's driving systems. And I also wanted to mention over here, we've got these amazing preset controls, 1 through 8. You see, I have it set to some popular radio stations on Sirius. But if you want to plug in your house or your work in the navigation system, you can do that as well. Very easy to get to, and I love how BMW has done that here. Down here, my only other problem with this interior is there's not a ton of storage space for a big SUV like this. This is all you get. 2 cup holders. They are heated and cooled, which is freaking awesome. And we do have a wireless charger over here, but it's not very easy to get to. So once you put your phone in there, you're going to probably have to forget about it. And we do have an optional extra on here. This is a Swarovski crystal shifter, because when you're paying this much for your car, only poor people use a regular plastic shifter to change gears in their car. I use this beautiful lit up Swarovski crystal. The whole thing lights up at night. You can choose from a bunch of different ambient light colors like purple, green, blue, orange. Looks incredible. And some people think that this looks a bit cheap. I think it looks fantastic. And if you do get this, I think it's like a $600 upgrade, or it comes as part of a package, which we happen to have. All of the controls here are also made out of glass, which is awesome. This is the other way that you can control the infotainment system. You've got your rotating and directional pad here. You've got a bunch of home buttons here, home, map, media, all of those with a back button. That's really useful. You can change the suspension settings here. So I can raise up the vehicle for like off-roading and stuff, or I can lower it for easier exit and entry. And as I showed you while we were driving, we've got our Sport, Comfort, Eco, Pro, Adaptive, and we've got our Traffic hold right there. So the front seat, as I've shown you, is a wonderful, wonderful place to be. You can sit and have a nice massage while you're up here, but the back seat is really where it's at. So I'm gonna go ahead and hop back there to show you. All right, so I'm gonna start off by showing you the third row, which I'm actually quite happy to do in the X7 because it is pretty usable back here. All you need to do is fold up the front seat here, the second row, and it slides forward automatically, and then I can step on in here. You can soft close, it automatically brings that to a close, and then I can just pull the seat back and it'll automatically slide into position. You can see we have the captain's chairs back here, which is gonna limit you to 6 passengers. You can get a standard bench seat back here with seating for up to 7. So even with it in its position, I do have space back here. You do have a little over 33 inches of legroom, which is comparable to even those big American trucks like the Tahoe and the Suburban. And what's interesting back here is I still have, because we have the optional 5-zone automatic climate control, I do have climate controls all the way back here in the 3rd row. And then if I push this little button, I've got my own sunroof back here. How entertaining is that? So I don't have to be deprived of having that awesome panoramic roof. Now, because we have the captain's chairs, it is a little bit easier for me to get into the 2nd row. Although these armrests here do make it a little bit of a climb. You also lose the ability to fold these seats flat if you do get the captain's chair. So if you're going to be hauling a lot of stuff in your X7, you might want to just get the standard bench seat back here because that is able to fold flat. Now, once I'm back here, I've got this awesome pillow on my head. I think this is like a dealer extra. You definitely have to get this. It's amazing. I also have a nice armrest that I can pull up here if I need it. And then these are power adjustable seats, so I can slide, recline, I can take a nap back here, I can cross my legs. This is incredible. I've got 2 cup holders, 2 USB-C ports. I've got a CD player here with 2 headphone jacks. I can also play Blu-ray on it, and there's also an HDMI port. And of course, I have my own climate controls with heated seats. Interestingly, this does not have ventilated seats in the 2nd row. Come on, BMW, this SUV costs 120 grand, and the Kia Telluride and Hyundai Palisade both have ventilated seats in their 2nd rows for less than 50 grand. That is unacceptable. Now I can also open up the sunshade from back here so I can pull in some light, and if I want, I have power shades on either side. It is just an excellent place to be back here, and if you are riding in that 3rd row, you will be treated to some amazing V8 exhaust note. Now let's show you how this all looks from the cargo area. But before we do that, I want to show you something really cool that we have optioned on this particular X7, because we have the rear seat entertainment package. Oh boy, that's a fun package. I wanted to show you this because it's just awesome. We have this rear seat entertainment package, which means on the back seat, we've got these 2 touch screens. These are kind of dumb usually. You can remember like back when you were a kid, you probably had like a DVD player that popped down from the side, but these do so much more than that because they are tied to the main infotainment system. So I can pull up my full map. I can actually like plug in destinations back here, which is cool if the driver is too busy to do it. So if you're being chauffeured, you can change a lot of the settings here. So I can go in and I can change the sound settings. So you can have specific settings that are oriented towards the back seat, which is really cool. I can also change the interior lighting, which is super fun. So yeah, I can control the brightness. I control the different colors. So I can make it blue or orange, whatever color I want. This is a really fun thing, but don't worry, the kids can be locked out of it if you don't want them to control your audio, because I know that would just get really annoying. And you can plug headphones into it so they can control their own audio without bothering you up front. Now let's go ahead and check out the rear cargo area. So let's open up our electric tailgate, which now has a electric bottom half too. So if I go ahead and push this button, the bottom half folds out and we've got a nice little area to sit and tailgate. So if you do have the 3rd row up, you're gonna have a little under 13 cubic feet of storage. And if you fold the 3rd row down and just have 2 rows engaged, you have about 48 cubic feet of storage. Now, we don't have the optional bench seat, which comes base. We have the captain's chair, so those do not fold flat. But if you do have the bench seat back there, you can fold that as well, and that will get you around 90 cubic feet of storage, which is massive. The only SUVs that are really bigger than this are like the Lincoln Navigator L and the Cadillac Escalade ESV. Pretty much everything beyond that is going to pale in comparison to the amazing storage space found here. All right, so let's price out our 2019 BMW X7 xDrive 50i. This is probably going to be the longest price out I've ever done on one of these videos, so be sure to get out your checkbook because this one's going to be a big one. So the starting price for the xDrive 40i, that's the 6-cylinder model, is going to be $73,900. To opt for the 50i version we have here starts at $92,600, and if you want that M50i version I mentioned, that's $7,000 more at $99,600. Now, the one we have here, the xDrive 50i, is fitted with a ton of extra options, including the $1,000 Tartufo extended merino leather. That is a really nice package, gives you much softer leather on the inside. Cold weather package for $1,200. That's going to give you heated armrests. You're also going to get that 5-zone automatic climate control, heated rear seats, and armrests, which is incredible. You've got the premium package for $1,500. Gets you remote start, soft close automatic doors, electric side window shades, heated and cooled cup holders, a head-up display, a Harman Kardon audio system, which is standard if you get the xDrive 50i, optional on the 40i, and you get those gesture controls. For $4,750, you get the dynamic handling package. For $1,200, you get the luxury seating package. That's going to get you ventilated seats with massage. M Sport package is $3,500. That's going to get you some optional wheels and appearance packages. Looks pretty good in my opinion, although that's a lot of money to spend. Premium package is $1,500, as I mentioned. Extended leather on the dashboard is $1,000. The Bowers & Wilkins stereo, which is 20 speakers, 1,500 watts, that's $3,400 extra. I think that's worth every penny. We've also got the rear seat entertainment system for $2,200. That gets you the 10-point-inch screens out back, Blu-ray, HDMI socket, 2 headphone jacks. I think that's pretty worth it as well. And I did mention that you do get some extra safety equipment on the 50i, justifying its nearly $19,000 price gap over the 40i, including Parking Assistant Plus with top view, panoramic view, and 3D view, the head-up display, active driving assistant professional, active lane keep assistant, and extended traffic jam assistant with limited access on highways up to 37 miles per hour. And with a few other things optioned here, we have a final price of $117,945, just shy of $118,000. Is it worth it? Yes, if you have the money, but boy oh boy, that is going to be a big check you're going to need to write for this one. So let's sum up our time with the 2019 BMW X7 50i xDrive. I think this is one of the best SUVs on sale today. The interior is lovely, the technology is lovely once you come to grips with it. When you first get exposed to this car, you're going to be bewildered by the amount of technology and self-driving and all of that kind of stuff. It's overwhelming to say the least, but once you get a hold of it, it becomes really easy, which is why the 2019 BMW X7 earns a CarBuzz score from me of must buy. And if you want to see how it fares in our numerical Buzz score, it gets a 9.0, making it one of the top ranked SUVs on sale today, tied with the upcoming 2020 Mercedes GLS. And if you like this review and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to the CarBuzz YouTube channel and hit the notification bell so you can be alerted of our latest videos. And be sure to download our apps on iOS and Android to keep up with the latest and greatest in automotive news and to see more reviews just like this one. Hope you've enjoyed the video. See you next time.